It is mold day. We are going to be making a couple molds similar to this one, in which case I am going to finish off my D6 project where I am going to make molds of the shell D6s, as well as making another set of D6, a six set of D6 slab mold in the same fashion as the other ones. I just wanted to have a full mold instead of single molds for some of the D6s I'll be making. I'll be using wooden stir sticks today instead of the metal ones, as the metal ones aren't as tall. I've got my mixing cup for the silicone. I am using Dragon Skin 20 because I have a gallon of it and I'm still using it. I have PVC couplings. These are 3-inch, possibly 4. Let's line it up. It is 4-inch. 4-inch coupler. We have little bits we're going to use as keys. I know that these two tapes will work. The Gorilla Heavy Duty Packing Tape, I got this one because it's a 3-inch wide tape that I can get mostly on the bottom of these, and then my other smaller ones that I will make my other molds out of, like this. I make them look like little Mario tubes. I had also tested making a smaller one, but this one seems to be a little too flimsy for me. I will use it sometimes, but it's not the best. It's just for a blank, and you get a decent blank out of it, but I don't trust it to use it. I will use it in a pinch, but that's pretty much it. Also, I have some Vaseline, which we will use here shortly to line the inside. We're going to mix up our silicone, and I have written down, because what I will do with some of my molds is I will put tape on the bottom, fill it up to where I want the silicone to be. I'll fill that up with water, and then I'll measure it. So we'll be going a little bit under that. And so it tells me it's 160, but I can go a little under that to make up for adding the dice to it. When I did it, it was completely empty. So taking that little bit off isn't going to be a big loss for me. And since 5 is close to that, we're going to mix 5 of both. So I'm going to get 10, because I'm doing 2 molds. I am going to do 5 of one part and then 5 of the other part, and then we're going to make both of these molds. I hope you can follow along, because I can't remember if I said everything I was supposed to. We're going to start with the tape, though. So what I'm first going to do is take a little bit of Vaseline and coat the flat side, because there's a side that has little indents and writing, and then there's the flat side. Sometimes you have to scrape a little bit, in which case these are pretty good. So what I'll do is I will just kind of lightly line the PVC with the Vaseline, and we'll set those aside while we get our tape ready. All right, now that we have our Vaseline on the tubes, we're going to get the tape ready. Well, first I have to clean off my finger. All right, so yeah, so this one we're going to have to redo, because I just ripped most of it off, most of my glue off on that one, and I don't know how the plastic part of the tape is going to work. So let's get this one to the side, and we're going to come back to it. So I'm going to get that all nice and flat, pulled, and we have our bottom. We can cut off our edges, as we're not going to be needing them past the glue. Let's get this, because we have to clean some dice before we do anything. Alright, so we got our hot glue. around the edge. We have our empty mold. We'll put our one faces down, make sure everything is fudge. This is what we're gonna do with these. It is at least 1/4 inch from the edge, and they're at least 1/4 inch away from each other, if you can see the dots. So we're gonna do that with the next ones. All right, so we've got those in. These are in place, and this one's ready to go. We are going to use some of these to make our keys. In which case, I am going to put a few on here, on this side. We also need to leave some room for cutting our registration marks. But I like using these little gems as keys. I use it pretty much on all of my molds. All right, and let's just put one on this side. And maybe one right on the edge here. All right, and that's the one mold. I am going to quick cut, so you'll see in just a moment the other mold done, because I need to do some fixing on it. And then we're gonna put one more on the end here. And then press that down, and then we are going to set this aside and mix up some silicone. We're gonna mix it up. We're gonna mix up some silicone. Okay, so like I said, since we're doing 2 molds, normally I would go to 5. For one of these molds, for the bottom, I'm going to go 10. So I'm going to do 5 of B and 5 of A, or 5 of A, 5 of B. And then we're going to put a little bit of mica to give it some color. And then we'll go from there. I'm going to mix it up some inside the container, because as it says stir well before using. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so let's get to our 5. Ooh, pretty. Okay, so that settled right under 2/3. And so we're just gonna go just under 1 1/3. So we're gonna go just over 10. So we need to go just over 10. Just under 1 1/3. So in between those 2 marks. And maybe just a little bit more. Okay, that should be enough. All right, so let's get some mica. Doesn't need too much. That seems to be enough right there. Just a little scoopage. And doing it this way also helps to let you know that it's all mixed. We're going to mix this until it's mixed. Okay, now that this is all mixed up and we're ready to go, it's a nice goopy consistency. Kind of looks like the Blob from the old movie, which I think that was made with gravy. I think they made that with like some kind of weird gravy. Or it kind of looks like the ooze from the Ghostbusters movies. So, now that that is mixed and it's ready to go, we are going to pour it into our molds. Get our molds in view. Now we just pour. When we're pouring, we just want to keep it nice and steady, and then you just let the silicone find its own path. All right, let's see where we're at with that one. Almost. Let's start this one. Of course, I'm probably going to voice over during this part. Like sometimes I'll get laser focused on a part, and once I get laser focused, that's all I'm focusing on so that I don't mess it up. Once it's covered, I like to move it around to different spots, especially since it's close. Go until I don't really see color anymore. And those look about even. All right, now it's time to get these in the pot and pressured. You won't see this, but I'm going to slide it off onto my hand and then place it in the pot. So each one goes in here, and I try to keep it in there as level as possible. And I can fit 2 of these in here at the same time. And we are going to check with our level, make sure everything's level. And we are good. So now we put them in the pressure pot, and this time I'm not going to go 37. I'm going to go a little bit over 40. With my molds, I'll go anywhere between 40 and 42. And this way, if I accidentally overpressure on my dice when I cast them, it's not going to cause any kind of pressure issues. So yeah, we'll put those in for about 4 hours, and we'll see what happens. We'll cut away. I'm not gonna unmold it. So the next thing you're going to see is a quick cut to molds that'll be ready for the next step. Our molds are done. I'm a little bit concerned about this spot, but we'll see what happens. We got both of those done. I took them out and I used cuticle cutters to cut the flashy edges off, or cut the flashing off of the silicone. Then I'm going to remove my keys that I made, and I'm going to do the same thing with the cuticle cutter there. With my registration marks, I'm going to do one that will be kind of rectangular on the one side. Let's see. Okay. So it'll be rectangular on one side, and we're going to pop up to the top. And I'm probably going to put that one, for this one, I'm going to put it right here. So just cut in, cut across. Maybe cut in one more time, get it to reach that. And then we're going to cut that out. And there we go. we have our first registration mark. And then I'll find another spot to do like a V. So it hooks in, catches the V, and then I could do maybe another one this way. We'll do just, you know, in, and then across. And then we'll have all three types of registration mark. Now I will take some Vaseline, put it in here, 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 put it back in the PVC. We're going to tape it up around the side, and we're going to pour more silicone to get that nice cap. Put Vaseline back on the inside of it again. We're going to take some Vaseline and put it in our little points. Get it in there. Get it in there. Make sure we get it in all the spots we don't want the silicone to stick. So this one's ready. Then we get it flush. Flush back with the top. Without touching the faces of the dice. Pretty flush. And now we will try not to get it on the faces of the dice themselves, but we want to get Vaseline on the face of the silicone. And I get real careful with that. But I've also done it enough to where I know where my line is at, and I could just go right up to it. But if you do get any on the faces, just take some of your alcohol and clean up the faces. I'm going to double check when I'm done here, just to make sure I didn't get anything on the faces of these. We'll tape it up and put silicone. I tried not to have to clean them, but hey, better to show you that they need to be cleaned than not. And then you're like, well, how do I clean it? That guy didn't show me. I watched his video and he didn't show me how to clean it. I don't want to be that guy. So I'll show you how to clean it. I will take my 91%, spray the end of my Q-tip, and just wipe towards a corner. Make sure that it doesn't really clean off the Vaseline from the silicone. So it's just the opposite of putting the Vaseline on the silicone. You use the 91% to clean it off. It's Vaselined, it's cleaned. Now we use the Scotch tape from early on. Nice long piece. Really only needs so much. And then you just wrap it around. Keep it nice and level. As you can see here, I've kind of veered a little bit. And there you go. Now this next one I am going to be mixing up much less this time. I'm probably going to use 8 total, so 4 and 4. As you don't need as much for the lid as you do for the body. So the body holds the dice, lid has considerably less. It might, this one I think I use just about the same but it's not, you don't need too much. You need it to be heavy enough to hold it on so it doesn't lift, but you don't want it too heavy so that it caves in. We have our 8 ounces mixed, and it is time to pour again. We're going to take this and we're going to pour just like we did before. Very high, very slow. I know I sped it up already, but we want to get it onto the faces, cause no bubbles, get into all the little crevices and cracks. I do move this around a little just so I can get those little keys started. But then I'll go back to my normal position and pour. We'll get that one started. We'll get that one started. We'll get that one started, and then we'll go back to a corner. Well, not really a corner, but oh, pouring a little too fast. I can't mess these up. I'm almost out of silicone. All right, let's check and see if this one's level with that one. Look pretty dang level to each other to me. Looks fancy. As you can see on the side here, I have just orange clamps. Sometimes the seal isn't perfect, but it's not the end of the world. You can get a clamp on the side of it, and most of the time it will get rid of leaks like that. I'm not too worried about it because it'll still hold. It just goes down gradually, but I heard it this time. I just need to get a little bit more Vaseline on it next time, so I just put some clamps on it this time. 4 hours has passed, and now we are going to take the tape off the mold. Push the mold back out. And slowly pull apart. This is kind of satisfying to do. And it looks like all of my molds are good. Boom. Let's get these out of there. We are ready to go. All right, so just a little post-processing here to get some of these little hanging bits out of there. Anything that hung a little bit as it came out. Then we'll take our cuticle cutters and cut the little edges off just to make it look nicer. I'll take that edge off. You could also pull it off this way. Doesn't look like there's any inhibition. Got no gooey marks. Everything's good, and just keep prying at it a little bit at a time, and eventually all the parts just pop out. there you go. I have made 2 sets of D6 molds, and I still have some silicone left over. I have plenty. So set that to the side, these to the side. Next mold is going to be this one. Functional resin art. I got one of their dice mold kits, and I am going to try my hand at making a long mold for these guys. Yeah. More info on that later, but these dice are, as you can see, clippies on there, and yeah, that's for another video. Thank you for watching. This is Hers with HZ Customs, and this is my YouTube channel. I'll be dropping some dice on the shop soon at hzcustoms.com, and we'll be getting some D6s up there as well. I'll be resuming dice videos here soon as well, next week. And yeah, just looking forward to making more videos in the future. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Hers.